Well, hey there. Welcome home again. I'm Gigi, and this is Home and Hearth, Mini Homesteading with Gigi. I'd like to start off by showing you the dryer sheet quilt. I got it finished. I just took this backing and wrapped it around and stitched it down. And then to quilt it, I did some ties. Periodically throughout the quilt, I just did some little ties. So this one is finished, and it wound up being right at 36 by, I'm going to call it 48. I'll measure it on my table and I'll show you. I have made these little marks on my table. It's a 4x2 table, and I just went ahead and made me some marks, and that way I can do some rough estimating. I don't use these to actually cut by, but I do use them for estimating. So when I measured this on the table, it turned out to be 48. So it's 36 by 48. I had my two little great-granddaughters to try it out, and they both said it was the perfect size, and it was nice and warm because it had this fleece on the back of it. Okay, so I wanted to start out with that. But let me tell you what we're going to be doing today. A friend of mine gave me this cute little Easter, it's a package to put jelly beans or whatever else you want to in, but it looks like a carrot. And I'll have a link to the instructions. It's 2 pages of instructions. But I've got mine cut out, so I thought I'd share that with you. That's one thing we're going to be working on today. So it's just 4 pieces. Actually, I think it's 1 piece, and this was 6 by 11.5, so about 6 by 12, and that's the carrot top. Obviously it's green. And then 2 of the 6 by, I'd say 6 by 8, but maybe it's 6 by 9. The actual dimensions are listed below. So this will be the carrot, this will be the top, and then you have a string to cinch it up with. And then it looks like that, and you can fill it with candy, whatever you want to. I thought it was really cute for Easter. So that's one thing we're going to be working on. The next thing I'm going to try to do today is make a backpack. And what I've done with this is just the width of the fabric, whatever, 36, 45, just one width that's 12 inches wide. I folded it in half and added a little applique. This is just some iron-on applique. You can put anything you want to. You can make a pocket. But this is going to be a backpack. So we'll turn it down there, add some tabs on the side, and put some string through it so it can be a backpack. That's the second thing we're going to work on today. And you may not believe this next thing, but this is what I do, the way I do it. These are kitchen towels, and there's 10 in a pack, and it was, with tax, probably about $10, so about $1 a towel. And then with each towel, I'm going to cut and get multiple, what I call pads out of it. So here's the dish towel, and I use these in my kitchen. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit more than 24 by 24, so maybe 28 by 28. And we're going to fold them and cut them into the pads that I use. Whenever we had the bathroom tissue crisis and nobody could get any, well, I bought a bidet, and I started making these little pads for any time I used the bidet and needed to wipe the moisture, or if I do number 1 and need to pat dry. Of course, I don't use them for number 2, but I have a little container sitting by my commode with bleach and water in it, and I just lay these in them, and about twice a week, because it's already got the bleach in it, I just throw it in the washing machine with whatever towels or other whites I have, and wash them up. You can see these are looking pretty good. They bleach up pretty good. And of course, I hang my whites outside on the line. So that's what we're going to be doing today, those projects. I hope you'll stay with me and enjoy the time we have together. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is take these dishcloths and take them over here to my ironing station and iron them out. I have a wool pressing pad and a sunbeam iron, and I'm just going to press the corners and the sides real good, because when I cut this hem part off, I want it to lay flat. Okay, I'm back over here to my cutting area, and we've pressed down these seams, that have these hems, and you're probably wondering why I'm going to cut them off if I'm just going to have to hem it again, because it's raw material and it'll fray if I don't hem it again. Well, I'll show you what I'm going to do. These finished ones are doubled, and then I have gone around the edges with my sewing machine with a zigzag so they don't fray. These have been washed many times, and you can see they don't fray very much. If they do fray, I can just trim them up. But I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just cutting off these hems because I don't want them to interfere with the accuracy of what I'm the shapes that I'm trying to get out of one cloth. I should be able to get 6 pads out of one of these towels. That's pretty efficient use of the cloth. Now, I don't waste anything, and I'll tell you more about my R7 for recycle and reuse and reduce. These that I've cut off, I'm going to use to tie up my tomato plant, so I'm not wasting any part, even though I don't need it for my pads. I still can use it for something. Growing up, we all had outhouses. We were rural, lived out in the country, so everybody had outhouses. Now I'm going to show you the next step that I do. I've done this enough to know that I can fold this in thirds and get 6 pads out of it. So I'm folding it in thirds. Now this is one that has not been doubled. This is a single. So I'm going to lay it down on top of here, just to use as a pattern, and lay another one down on top of here. So I have folded this into thirds. So that's 3 here and 3 here that I'm going to be cutting out. And then once it's cut out, I'll fold that in half, and then I'll do the zigzag around it. So getting back to my granddaddy, he was very fond of his outhouse. I guess maybe it was the one place he could go to get away from all the youngins in the yard all the time. But the tale I'm going to tell on him we had some bad weather one winter. Wasn't exactly a tornado, I don't guess, but it was high winds and rain and some hail. And he called my daddy and my two uncles. He called them the boys. So he had 3 boys and 3 girls. He called the boys home to the home place because the winds had blown over the outhouse. So when we got there that weekend and they went to get the outhouse straightened up, they realized that that bad storm had blown part of the roof off of the house, the main house that was my granddaddy's bedroom. But he was more concerned about getting that outhouse fixed than he was about getting his bedroom fixed. Okay, we're just about to finish this up. Now, I've only used 1 of the 10 dish towels that came in that pack, so, that's making me 6 more. So I'll probably do this one more time and then use the rest of the towels in my kitchen. So I've wound up with 6 full sheets. Now I'm going to take them over to the sewing machine. I'm going to fold them in half, and then I'm going to zigzag around them so there won't be any fraying. Okay, now I'm ready to sew. I think Winston wants to help me. What is it, sweet boy? What is it? So this is the full sheet that I'm folding in half. Just lining up my edges. Then I'm going to put it under the sewing machine. Hey, buddy. Hey. Hey, sweet boy. What is it? Hey, sweet boy. What is it? Hey, I'm surprised he's not up here on the sewing machine. That's usually what he loves to do. So if these don't quite match, just give it a little tug, because this gauzy material is very forgiving and flexible. Okay, on my machine, I choose 16, and that gives me this zigzag. So that's what I'm going to sew on. Okay, we're ready to get started. Here's the folded in half, and I've got my settings, and I'm just gonna start sewing, and we'll probably speed this part up so you can see what's going on without wasting time. I'm leaving my needle in and turning it to come down the other side. And this is what it looks like. So to use it, we just fold it in half, and I've got a little basket beside my toilet that I put them in. So you can see that I've been busy making my little pads. And if one of them gets soiled or dingy, I just throw it away because it's so easy to make them. Of course, I do have bathroom tissue for other events. But just thought I'd share this with you, how I used a dish towel to make these little pads and not have to rely on the bathroom tissue. Now, on to our next project. That's a backpack. And I'm using this as my inspiration. It's just a little backpack that I picked up somewhere. Let's see. Grand European Travel. They gave it to us on one of my trips. And so I'm just using it as a pattern. And you can see that mine is just about the same size as theirs. I mentioned that I just used the width of the fabric that I had. And let's see, looks like it was not quite 36. Okay, so maybe I had trimmed it off or used some piece of it, but that's about the same size as this one, it looks like. So I put on an applique. I just used adhesive. I haven't zigzagged it yet. I probably won't. I'll probably just leave it like that. So what I'm going to do is turn it inside out with the right sides together. And then I'm going to start sewing. So the top of this, I'm turning down about an inch. Turning it down about an inch. And I'm going to stitch it to make my casing. So I'll do that to both ends, and then I'll come back over here and put these little tabs on it. So come with me to the sewing machine. Oh, I just filled my bobbin, and this is all the thread that's left of that color, so I had to get out my some more thread. I've got to see if I can match this up a little bit. I'm not going to put these pieces back in here. I've got another place for them, because if I just do some hand sewing, I can use up the ends of these. So I've got another place that I use these. So I'm going to go ahead and thread my machine and get ready to get started. Alrighty, I'm all threaded up, so I'm going to get some glasses on so I can see, and we'll get started. Remember, I'm just turning down about an inch. I know it's hard to see, but I'm just turning down about an inch to make my casing. So I'm doing this to both ends, and after I do the other end, I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we're back to the table. Now, this is the right side, and I'm just going to put right sides together, and both of these ends have the turned under for the casing. So what I'm going to do now is start right under the casing and just take a seam down and a seam down. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to insert these little tabs that I made. I just took 2 inches, 2 by 3 inch, and made a little casing. And then these go on the inside to catch in the hem. So they'll be on the inside. I'll show you that. They'll be on the inside, and then when you sew it and turn it right side out, they'll come out like that for your ribbon to thread through. But right now we need for them to be pretty close to the bottom, just like in this bag, pretty close to the bottom. And I'm folding this in half, and I don't need it to stick out too much, just enough to make sure that I've got it caught. And I am going to put a pin in that, just so I know it's caught good. And I'm going to put a pin on this end right up under the casing, so that I can know that that's where I've got to stop, because I've got to have this casing opening so I can put the ribbon through. So I'm going to do that on the other side, and then pin back up here under the casing, so I'll know not to close that up. So that's the next step, is to put these little tabs in. And remember, my presser foot is 1/4 inch, so I can use that as a guide. I just keep this edge of the fabric lined up with the edge of my presser foot. And I'm stopping where my pin is, just below the casing. I'm stopping there. And I am going to do a back stitch and then a forward stitch, just to reinforce, because that's going to get a little bit of a pressure point right there. I'll do that to the other side, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, I've already put one side of the string in. I'm going to show you how to do the other side. We just take our ribbon, and the dimensions will be put up on the screen, but the length of the ribbon is double the side and the casing. And on this one, it's about 5 foot. So we're going to put the ribbon through the end of our safety pin. And we're going to come up from the bottom of the tab over here on the side and pull the ribbon through till we get almost to the end. And then I'm just going to put a pin here to secure it. I don't want to pull it all the way through and have to start all over at the beginning. So I've got it through here. Now we're going to come up the side and put our safety pin through the front casing and then push the safety pin. We're just going to inch it through. We're going to push from behind and then pull the fabric, and the ribbon will follow. We're just pushing, 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 and pull the fabric, and the ribbon's going to follow. When we get to the end of the front, so it's already got 2 strings in it. When we get to the end of the front, we're just going to pull it on through. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling till it comes up the side, about the length of the side. We'll straighten this back out. Now we're just going to do the back side. So we're taking that same safety pin and string that we've been working with, and we're going through the back side. Again, we're just pushing, 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 pull the fabric, pushing, 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 pull the fabric, and the string will follow. We're pushing that pin that's got the ribbon attached to it all the way through. Now we're coming out the back side. And we're straightening this up and pulling that through. And then we're coming down this side on the outside. And now I can unpin that. Remember, that first one that we started with is through the tab. The other end of it does not go through the tab because we want it to be one continuous loop. But we're going to tie a knot. One is in the tab and one is not. We're going to tie a knot, and I'll probably tie a knot and then double it again just to be sure it doesn't come loose. Okay, so there's the first knot. Then I'm just going to tie it again. And if you want to put a decorative ball or something on the end of it, that would be cute. So now if we look, it should be come out just perfect. If I've got my, there we go. Got everything lined up. We've got 2 strings on each side that if you pull, it will close up the bag and give you the straps for your backpack. So your top is closed up. It's gathered and closed up. So you got a little backpack with a cute little decal on it. Now, if you'd rather make this a pocket, that would be fine. And you can even put a tab on the front and a button so that the pocket would, whatever you put in the pocket, you won't lose. This applique looks like it's a little high up for when the bag is closed, so you might want to keep that in mind. And I'm using ribbon, but of course you could use any kind of string. And I mentioned that down here on the bottom, you could put a bead of some kind. Here we are for our last project, the carrot. And this is my first time making them, so I'm learning along with you. My first direction says to take this 6x8 piece and cut it on the diagonal. So I'll I'll have to get my ruler out and measure that. You can see I've got three different ones cut out. That's because I've got 2 great-granddaughters and a great niece that I'm making these for. So I'm going to put these up out of the way. But my directions tell me to take this 6x8 piece and fold it in half. So I'm trying to cut a V. What I've done is measured halfway here and put a pin. Yeah, I want this V right here. Okay, and this should be exactly the opposite. So let's see if that works. Yep, measures just right. Okay. So I'm just going from corner to corner. Right, there's my carrot V. And got some scraps to go in my scrap box. And it tells me to, with right sides together, to sew down each side, not the top, just the sides. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll be right back with you. Hey, look who's here. You are very patient with me. How about if I go get you a treat? Alrighty, I finished sewing. So I'm going to cut this tip off, the very tip, so that it will turn. So I cut the tip off. You can see right there, I cut the tip off so that it should be able to turn more easily now, and then I'll press it open. I'm ready to press it now. That's the bottom of the carrot. I think it looks pretty good so far. For the first time anyway. Let's go get the top to it. Okay, don't worry too much about the thread or if you got it exactly even. Remember, this is just a fun thing. It's a temporary, just for Easter. Once it's used, it probably is not going to be a keepsake. It's probably going to be thrown away, chances are. So this is what we've got so far. I need to go press it and then put the tie on. I've got it centered to the back of the carrot, and I'm just going to make a little stitch. Like I say, this is nothing that's an heirloom or that's going to be permanent. This is just a one-time use, so I'm just going to tack it on the sewing machine. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you some more tales on me or tales on my granddaddy one, or maybe both. I come from a big family, a big extended family on both sides of my parents. I have, y'all not going to believe this, but I have 53 first cousins. Now, they're not all living. I'm 74, and Mama was the baby of her family, so most of all of those have already passed. But we did have lots of fun when we got together, and one of the things that we used to do was have corncob fights out in the cow lot. So the boys would do the fighting, and the girls would be safe. We could, well, our job was to go pick up the corn cobs after they've been thrown to the opposite teams. They always had opposing teams, so the girls would run in there and pick up the corn cobs for our team and take them to whichever side that we were on. So they'd be HV, Jimmy Wayne, Billy. I mean, I can't even tell you how many. There would be that cow lot full of boys and us girls rescuing the corn cobs so they could continue to play. Well, I was little, and I got the bright idea that I would go out to the outhouse and get the corn cobs out of there, and my side would have even more. So I went around, I left the cow lot, crossed the little road, the farm to market road, went around the back of the house to the outhouse, and went inside and got an armload of corn cobs. And as I was coming out, my granddaddy was coming to the outhouse. And when I saw him, he went to hollering, and he reached down to pick up the stick like he was going to come after me. I threw them down and ran off. He was a prankster, a jokester. I didn't realize that when I was real little, but as I got older, I did realize it. But another thing he used to do was scare me and Diana, my cousin, to death. He told us that there was a wildcat that lived in the chimney. Well, the chimney he was talking about had a croaker sack stuffed in it, so in the summertime, so no animals would, try to build a nest or something in there. But if we dared went outside when he was anywhere around, he would hide behind the edge of the corner of the house and go to squalling and wow, like a wildcat making all these noises, and it'd scare us to death. We'd run inside and anyway, he was a prankster. You may be wondering why I'm telling you all these tales about my family. Well, I'm doing it because my children asked me to, and grandchildren asked me to. And I can remember sitting on the front porch hiding a tape recorder, trying to get my grandmama to tell stories and get her on tape, because, to me, she was old. I remember when she had her 50th birthday, I thought she was ancient. Me and my cousin Wanda Sue set up under her bedroom window on the ground, and we were just knew, she turned 50, just knew she was going any day. So between the two of us, we divided up everything we wanted in the house, and we were very gracious to give some of our other cousins some little trinkets, but of course we were getting the lion's share of everything in our mind, and that was when she was turning 50. But anyway, my children have asked me to make some videos, and the videos have turned into having a YouTube channel. So that's why I'm telling so many of the old stories that my grandchildren and great-grandchildren will have after I'm gone. Okay, I'm getting ready to, I don't have any jelly beans to put in here. I might could put some stuff in it, but I'm gonna go ahead and tie it, so just so you can see the finished product and see what it looks like. I'm going to tie it down here, trying to see if I can get it tied. I know. I'll stick this down in there. That'll fill it up a little bit. Give it a little bit of. There we go. And tie that bow. Well, there it is, y'all. I don't know that we needed 5 foot of string, do you? I might be cutting that off, but there it is. Just pretend it has jelly beans in it, and that's our final product. And like I say, I have 3 of them cut out, 1 down and 2 to go. Well, I've enjoyed you visiting today. It's always good when you come home and visit. I love y'all so much. God bless.